The meeting will now come to order. As part of the continued efforts to prevent the spread of novel coronavirus, COVID-19, this meeting is being conducted by video teleconference. We welcome those of you joining us via the meeting portal and hope that everyone is safe and healthy. Vice Chair Trosper will now read the Epsb mission statement.
The Education Professional Standards Board, in full collaboration and cooperation with its education partners, promotes high levels of student achievement by establishing and enforcing rigorous professional standards for preparation, certification, and responsible and ethical behavior of all professional educators in Kentucky.
Thank you. Today we welcome Mary Pat Reagan and Amber Snell. Both members were unable to join us at the September 2nd EPSB meeting and will now need to be sworn in to the board. Leah Sharp joins us today to administer the oath to Deputy Secretary Reagan and Ms. Snell. Ms. Sharp, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. If you'll please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute, to the best of my ability, the office of Board Member of the Education Professional Standards Board according to law. And I do further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state, nor out of it, nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. Ms. Snell?
I do.
Ms. Reagan?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome to the board. We're glad to have you serving with us. At this time, I would like to offer each member the opportunity to introduce herself, starting with Deputy Secretary Mary Pat Reagan and moving on to Amber Snell.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Mary Pat Reagan, Deputy Secretary of Education and Workforce Development, and I look forward to working with you all.
Good morning. My name is Amber Snell. I am a 6th and 8th grade pre-algebra teacher at Madison Middle in Richmond, Kentucky, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you both. Sharon Chesser joins us today as Board Secretary. Ms. Chesser, thank you for joining us, and please call the roll.
Amanda Ellis.
Amanda Ellis, present.
Mary Pat Reagan.
Mary Pat Reagan, present.
Melissa Conley Salyers.
Melissa Conley Salyers, present.
Elijah Edwards. Sarah Green.
Sarah Green, present.
Kathy Gunn.
Kathy Gunn, present.
Donna Hedgepath.
Donna Hedgepath, present.
Tracy Hunt. Jacqueline Mayfield.
Jacqueline Mayfield, present.
Justin Mitchell. Sherry Powers.
Sherry Powers, present.
Lisa Rosinski.
Lisa Rudzinski, present.
Stephen Scrivener.
Stephen Scrivener, present.
Amber Snell.
Amber Snell, present.
Carmen Souter.
Carmen Souter, present.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, present.
Julian Vasquez Heilig.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, present.
We have a quorum. We will now move to consent items. The following items are listed on the agenda as consent items. Letter A, approval of September 2nd, 2020 Epsb meeting minutes. Letter B, request to offer program at an off-site location, Campbellsville University. And letter C, emergency non-certified personnel program. Does anyone wish to remove any of the items from the consent agenda for further discussion? Having received no requests to remove items from the consent agenda, can I have a motion to approve consent items A through C?
Stephen Scrivener, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Scrivener. Is there a second?
Mary Pat Reagan, second.
Second by Mary Pat Reagan. The motion before the board is to approve consent items A through C. As this meeting is being conducted via video teleconference, we will have a roll call vote for each vote. Ms. Cheshire will call the roll. I would like to remind each board member to please state their name, pause for a moment, and then state their vote. Ms. Cheshire, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, agree.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, agree.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes on A, recuse on B, and yes on C.
Jacqueline Mayfield, Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, can you hear me?
yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Okay. Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Jillian Vasquez Holly, I believe you're on mute.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Voting is complete.
The motion passes. Today, we welcome Commissioner and Chief State School Officer Jason Glass. Dr. Jason Glass is Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Education. Commissioner Glass is a native of Brandenburg and a third-generation educator. He comes to this role having served as Superintendent and Chief Learner of Jeffco Public Schools in Colorado. I will now recognize Commissioner Glass to provide his report. Welcome to the board.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. It's great to connect with all of you, even if we have to do it under these circumstances. I appreciate the chance to share just some brief updates from the department. I'll also recognize in a moment Mary Pat Reagan to talk a little bit about the work that the Lieutenant Governor has going on in the Education Cabinet, and also Amanda Ellis from CPE to give an update, and also Rob Akers. Excuse me. From my perspective, I'm about 1 month in now, and I often describe this experience as drinking from the fire hose. I did grow up in Kentucky, have a lot of connections in the state, but I've also been gone for 2 decades, so I have a heck of a lot to learn about Kentucky and a lot of the context and decisions that have been made that have led us to the place that we are right now. My focus this first year is going to be on 3 main things. One of those is managing and continuing to support districts in their response to COVID. That we've really moved into a stabilized response to that now. Most districts are open. We have a few that are still working in an NTI format. And really, there's a mixture of models across the state. I'd be surprised if we had any two that were exactly alike. And certainly going forward, as cases pop up in communities, you'll have all sorts of different reactions to that. And so what we've been focused on at the department is to provide clear guidance on safely reopening in-person learning, also providing quality remote learning experiences, and then managing through what we should expect in terms of outbreaks or cases that come up in communities. So that's been one major focus. A second is advancing the department's work around anti-racism and equity. The department has some nice efforts underway historically that I want to make sure that we build upon and continue to support, but really this is an opportunity for a larger conversation around anti-racism and equity across the state. And I want to make sure that we use this moment to advance that work and carry out that work of anti-racism and equity statewide. Finally, I think we're already experiencing, I know that we're already experiencing some budget shocks and reductions as a result of the economic disruption that's come about with COVID. The department right now is working through a process of around an 8% reduction in our programs and in several programs that extend out to things that provide supports around the state. We've worked hard to try and make those reductions in a way that don't impact direct services to students and that don't impact jobs. This is a really tough time, would be a really tough time for either of those. Mid-year budget cuts are harder to manage than ones that you can plan for. We're in the process of discussing how we'll make those reductions for the current year. We haven't received any final word or finalized any of those reductions yet, but suffice it to say that our focus is on protecting direct services to students and protecting jobs for employees, not just at KDE, but across the state, because several of the funds that we're working on do flow out to districts and co-ops and other entities. So we're working hard to make sure that we minimize that disruption to the greatest extent we can. Looking forward, these three things this year are going to take up an extraordinary amount of time. It's really an extraordinary time to come into this role and to manage these three issues. But going forward, I would love for us to get to a conversation around the future of education in the Commonwealth and what our aspirations are, and to determine if there's a level of consensus around where we go from here. We've started that conversation with 3 questions that I've asked in several interviews with key education leaders in the state, and then we've also put out a survey to gather that information from anyone in the state who wishes to take part. And the questions are, what are the things that we should keep doing? So what are those things that we are proud of and that we want to hang on to? What are the things that we should stop doing? Or they have lost their value to us or are no longer in sync with our present values? And what are the things that we should start doing? So what are the things that we aspire toward? I'll put that data collection form in the chat, so everyone is welcome to participate in that. We hope to gather thousands of responses to that and then do a text analysis on it, and then send out another data collection just to narrow down what really are the focus areas or priority areas for Kentuckians about the future of education in the state. So I'll put that in the chat. Right now, I want to turn things over to Mary Pat Reagan from the Education Cabinet to give an update from the Lieutenant Governor and from her perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Glass. Well, as we continue to focus on cradle to career, and that's the direction and the goals of the Lieutenant Governor and Governor, we continue taking a look at how we can partner internally, both from early childhood to K through 12 to higher education. And we're taking a look at everything so that it is easier for Kentucky families to navigate through the education system and take advantage of programs that are available to them. We are looking at braiding our resources and leveraging what dollars we can use to make sure that students are continuing to get all of the help that they need. We partnered with KDE to take a look at broadband across the state. And as you are all aware, it is not equitable throughout the state. So the first thing we did is partner with KDE to offer students who are on reduced and free lunch and who can't afford they have the device, but they don't have the access, to put into place a program where we would be eligible to give them that access. And then in addition, we continue to work on a project looking at rolling out broadband across the state. So we're very busy in all areas, but we've had really good discussions partnering with all the different entities. And I think as we continue to move through this difficult period, it also gives us an opportunity to do some things differently. So that's all yep.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks for that report. And let's turn over to Amanda Ellis from CPE. Amanda, are you on?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead.
Thank you. So just a few updates from CPE. First of all, we are in the process of actually working with KDE and the cabinet to come together and have a unified commitment, not just with our 3 agencies, but really even with our P12 and post-secondary partners across the state, to really look at, you're going to hear a lot of common terms that Mary Pat even said, even access to transitions in the educational pipeline. We're in the process of working through how we would like to pull together an advisory council to really focus on those initially, but there's a lot of work to be done in the educational journey from preschool all the way through post-secondary and into career. So we're going to be working on that and looking to collaborate together to have a unified message and a unified support across the state to increase access and awareness for our students to educational opportunities. And we're excited about that. More to come. So we look forward to it. Also, we recently had released a report. It is one of 3 that are going to be coming about the impact of dual credit. There's a lot of money and time invested in a dual credit. As you know, we have the dual credit scholarship, the Work Ready scholarship that supports high school students and those who've not received an associate's. And so we wanted to see if there was a positive impact. And so the first report that we shared a couple of weeks ago is really about the impact on the students who go to 4-year institutions. It did show a positive impact. We've had a 75% increase in the use or in the participation of dual credit, which is fantastic, but we still have work to do. We have underrepresented minority students are not taking advantage or don't have the access or opportunity to take the dual credit courses that we would want all students to have access to. That's something we're going to be digging into in our low-income students. But those who do participate show a great increase in sustainability and success in college. And so this is just the first report. The next one is about those who matriculate into the community colleges or 2-year institutions. And then the third one gets into more of the coursework. What courses are they taking? And is it having a positive impact with the gateway courses, meaning those entry-level courses? So just beginning on this work, but really excited about the outcomes and then what we can do to improve quality and access to our students. It's really going to help inform that. So we're looking forward to that. CPE has kicked off a new Higher Education Matters digital media campaign. And I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, but they're all students from different ages and backgrounds and walks of life that just share the importance of higher education and what that has done to change their life or their pathway, not just a 4-year degree, but 2-year credentials, ways that can really equip Kentuckians with the skills and credentials that they need to be successful in their careers. And then 2 quick other things. CPE is working with KCTCS on a campaign to promote the Work Ready Kentucky Scholarship. They are using radio and digital media to promote this for our adult learners. And there is, this is being funded through a Lumina Foundation grant. So we're excited about this opportunity and hope that it continues to grow as we increase enrollment. And the last thing is that we have met twice now with our Student Advisory Council. We were inspired by by KDE Student Advisory and the impact that they have. And so we have quite a diverse group of 22 college students, from a 54-year-old veteran who has gone back to school and who has children in school and in college, all the way to those who just entered as 18-year-olds. And so we're really starting to pick up the work with that to help engage them in the work of CPE and to get their feedback and influence on what we do. And I think that's about it. So thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate the time to share.
Thanks, Amanda. Let's shift to Rob Akers to give an update from the Office of Educator Licensure and Effectiveness. Rob.
Hey, good morning. And Dr. Glass, welcome to the EPSB. It's a pleasure to have you, and look forward to working with you and the board moving forward with some really good work. Madam Chair, members of the board, good morning. It's good to be with you again. You've had a busy month. This is our third time together in a month. Really appreciate everybody's time, effort, and energy in diving into this work. It was a pleasure being with you on Thursday and getting to share a little bit about the Office of Educator Licensure and Effectiveness and some of the good work going on there. And while I know it was probably, like Dr. Glass referenced, drinking from the fire hose with some of the information, I appreciate your time and interest in diving in, because there's a lot that the EPSB does, especially around educator prep and certification, that probably just doesn't cross your path a lot in the classroom or in the school building. So it's important for you to understand that as we're going to be making some important decisions moving forward around those topics. You've got a couple biggies today. Today you'll be considering some proposals that have been really several months in the making. In the educator prep realm, Allison Bell will provide you with information on 16 KAR 5010. This regulation is one of the most referenced and major regulations of the EPSB around educator preparation and program approval and review. Allison will give you a lot more information around that, but if you had any time to review the reg, you can tell it's a beast. And it's taken several months to try to streamline that regulation to make it more flexible for our partners. We really wanted to try to make the regulation a little more evergreen in its language and provide greater flexibility for our ed prep providers. So please just kind of know that, and that we did have several opportunities for stakeholder input along the way to try to put together a good regulation. In addition, Ms. Bell will be sharing a request from the Kentucky Association of Colleges of Teacher Education. You'll hear them referred to as CACTE a lot. You're going to learn so many new acronyms in your time on the EPSB. But this was also a really important piece of work. This has come from a lot of discussion around the perception of gatekeeping, and probably really more the reality of gatekeeping, as we know that the praxis test is really considered to be one of the biggest gatekeepers in regards to attracting minority candidates into educator preparation. Our CACTE group put together a very thoughtful recommendation on how to look at some multiple measures in trying to help us make entry into an ed prep program more equitable. So I look forward to your conversation around this as well. For the first time, the EPSB will act on applications from 3 partners seeking to launch continuing education option plan 2 programs. I know there's been a lot of work over the past 2 years with these organizations to start getting these applications in. And I think if you were able to take the time, I know you had a huge docket and agenda to review, but each of the programs is a little different, and I think kind of represents the flavor of what we wanted to see from the CEO Plan 2s. We have one from an EPP that is using it as kind of a pipeline into their graduate programs, and we have others that are a little more regional in their flair from the cooperatives from which they come. You're going to probably get a deep dive into educator ethics cases today. Last time we tried to get just the real simple ones to get teachers into classrooms, but I think you'll find, although the work is pretty intensive, I think you'll find it very rich work, and I think you'll find yourself considering really how things impact the school in so many different levels that maybe you hadn't before. So just with all that to say, with all the information that's coming your way, always encourage you to ask questions, to stop us for clarification if you need to, or, Cassie, of course, knows 99.9% of this stuff inside and out. We have a great staff with a ton of experience and history behind them. And I know that they have the answers that we can get for you. So, Madam Chair, Commissioner, I'm happy to take questions or receive feedback at this time. Otherwise, thank you so much for the opportunity to present.
Thank you, Rob. Are there any questions? Okay, Rob, hearing none. Thanks for the update. And I'll just close out our segment by saying I'm pleased to be with all of you and serve in a support role for this board. I did serve in a similar role with the Iowa Board of Educational Examiners and gained a great deal of respect and appreciation for the work that you do through that experience. I think the existence of this board is one of the reasons that education is a profession, upholding high standards and setting high expectations around program accreditation, the ways that you become an educator in the state, and the presence of the licensure system and all of the supports that go along with that. That's one of the things that separates teaching from other occupations. So a great deal of respect and reverence for the work that you do, and look forward to supporting your work going forward. With that, I'll turn things back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. We look forward to working with you. I also want to thank Deputy Secretary Reagan, Dr. Ellis, and Associate Commissioner Akers for their updates, and commend Commissioner Akers and his staff for the training that we got last Thursday. While it was a lot of information, at least for me personally, I had a much better understanding going forward when I started to read all the documents. So your shop is top notch, and thanks for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. At this time, I would like to take the opportunity to recognize some former members for their service to the Education Professional Standards Board. Melanie Callahan represented Arts and Humanities Educators. Kim Chevalier represented Exceptional Education Teachers and Administrators. Aaron Collins represented Superintendents and District Administrators. Daniel Morgan represented Secondary School Teachers. Ellen Murphy represented school principals and administrators. John Robinson represented computer science educators. Shad Sleto represented parents and private sector members. Adam Smith represented traditional science teachers. Elizabeth Smith represented elementary school teachers. Jamie Stickler represented school counselors and psychologists. Stephen Thomas represented career and technical educators. Ashley Weiss represented mathematics teachers, and Rachel Watson represented middle school teachers. Thank you to these former members for their hard work and dedication to the Education and Professional Standards Board. The board's procedures establish a waiver committee that meets prior to the board meetings to review the waiver request and make recommendations to the full board. The waiver committee consists of one teacher, one administrator, and one higher education representative. The procedures also allow for the appointment of an alternate member in the event that one or more of the members are unable to attend the meeting. At this time, I appoint Melissa Conley-Salyers, Dr. Sherry Powers, and Josh Trosper to the waiver committee and designate Dr. Powers to serve as chair of the waiver committee. I also appoint Kathy Gunn as the alternate for the waiver committee. Thank you to these members for their willingness to serve. I also have appointments to make to the Accreditation Audit Committee. This committee reviews the accreditation materials for educator preparation providers and prepares a recommendation for the EPSB with respect to the accreditation of the institution as well as the approval of individual programs. Veronica Russell of Christian County Schools is appointed to represent classroom teachers, and Janie Mosley of Owensboro Independent Schools is appointed to represent school administrators. Faye Dieters of Eastern Kentucky University is appointed as chair of the committee. Please join me in thanking these individuals for their willingness to serve. Last, I have appointments to make to the Program Review Committee. This committee provides content area expertise and reviews educator preparation programs to establish congruence of the program with the applicable standards. Kristen Cook of Bellarmine University, Eamon Couch of the University of the Cumberlands, Elizabeth Dinkins of Bellarmine University, Diane Johnson of Morehead State University, Jennifer McDaniel of SESC Cooperative and Eastern Kentucky University, Jamie Marie Miller of Eastern Kentucky University, Jared Stallones of the University of Kentucky, Patty Works of Eastern Kentucky University, Susan Stringer of Russell County Schools, Will Wells of Bellarmine University, Stephanie Wooten Burnett of the University of Louisville, and Rosie Young of Bellarmine University are all appointed to the Program Review Committee through December 2024. Thank you to these committee members for their willingness to serve. Next, we have 2 information items. Information items are presented to the board for review and discussion only. We will begin with information item A, presented by Allison Bell. Ms. Bell?
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe and healthy. As Mr. Akers presented earlier, the 16 KAR 5010 is the regulation being presented today as an information item that has a significant number of amendments that are being suggested. These revisions have been made based upon multiple conversations with our educator preparation providers, the CACTE Policy Committee, through various CACTE meetings, a program review advisory panel, as well as the Dean's Council, who met often with Associate Commissioner Akers. A summary of the items that have been revised include updating the language that is outdated, for example, changing INCATE to CAPE, and changing the name of the reading committee to the program review committee. Definitions were added to accompany some of the new language, and you will see those in section 1. We've removed some specific language that was identified as limiting or too specific. For example, there was a list of some specific specialty professional associations that were either outdated or no longer relevant. Revisions also include identifying the specific CAPE standards that the Standards Board adopted in 2015 as well as in 2019. These standards represent the accreditation standards for EPPs that choose to seek state-only accreditation. Some of the language in section 3 relating to the developmental process for new educator preparation providers has been added. One of the components in the regulation that's been changed is there are options for our EPPs to choose either a national accreditation, which right now is via CAPE, or a state-only accreditation process, which makes EPSB as the accreditor. As there are currently one recognized additional national accreditor who is seeking recognition from the federal government through the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, CHIA, as well as the Department of Education. And there may be others in the future. Requirements were added within the regulation draft to outline what it takes for a national accreditor for educator preparation to be recognized by the EPSB, and you will see those outlined in section 4. We also added a contingency should our state institutions be unsuccessful in seeking a national accreditation by adding the emergency authorization to operate. We've changed the program submission and review timeline from 12 to 18 months to a 24-month period in an effort to make the program review feedback more timely and reflective of what the institution is doing as it relates to their upcoming accreditation. We've identified the specific requirements for state accreditation, removed the section relating to the teacher leader masters. We are also proposing a revision to the Accreditation Audit Committee representation. You will see that in section 10. The decision language outlined has been changed to be consistent with the CAPE decision language that pertains to those EPPs who are seeking state-only accreditation. We've replaced the EPP's annual reporting requirements and biennial review with an interim report, which we believe would be more beneficial to our institutions in the third year post the accreditation visit. We've also significantly revised the program review components, specifically around what would be required for an EPP who is seeking continuing approval for programs that have been operating for some time. At this time, that concludes my summary of the changes, and wanted to give you an opportunity to ask questions or make comments.
I'm sorry, I got distracted for just a second.
So, it's okay.
Okay, so we are now ready for information on item B.
Okay. Item B is a proposal from the Kentucky Association of Colleges of Teacher Education. CACTE submitted recommendations for EPSB consideration for changes to the existing requirements for admission to initial preparation programs. Dr. Elizabeth Dinkins is the current president-elect of KACTE, and she also served as the co-chair of the task force that developed this proposal. Dr. Elizabeth Dinkins from Bellarmine University will be presenting the proposal on behalf of KACTE. Dr. Dinkins.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to share the work that KACTE engaged in. I probably think we started it about a year ago, this time last year. And we've compiled it into a report, which we submitted to OELE, which I think they've shared with you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have just a few PowerPoint slides to walk you through because I think it'll help keep things clear. And we're going to hope that all the technology works as it should. Excellent. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Once you share your screen, you can't see, I can't see you all anymore. So it's nice to get sort of verbal affirmation. So the work grows out of a shared goal we all have, which is to expand the pipeline of high quality candidates in teacher education with a focus on meeting critical needs in K-12 schools. And these critical needs include recruiting a more diverse teacher and administrative workforce. So currently, the regulations require applicants to initial certification programs to demonstrate academic competencies through grade point averages and passing test scores on the Praxis CASE exam. And the CASE stands for the Praxis Core Academic Skills for Educators Assessment. And it's designed to measure competencies in reading, writing, and math. Kentucky has score requirements of 156 in reading, 162 in writing, and 150 in math. At the graduate or the MAT initial certification level, GRE scores can be used in lieu of CASE scores. Last year, a KACTE task force started to examine the role that these CASE scores were playing in the admissions process. And specifically, we asked 3 questions. We said, how many students are not admitted due to the CASE only? And what states are requiring the CASE for other standardized tests for admission or for certification? And then what does the literature say about CASE scores in relation to performance? And this circles back with what Rob Akers was speaking about in terms of the gatekeeping into our profession. In asking these questions, what we did is we gathered data across the state. Specifically, we looked at 3 cycles of CASE data from a range of Kentucky EPPs. While we invited every EPP to be able to support us with these data, we received information from 5 private EPPs and 3 public EPPs. We also looked at a state-by-state comparison, and then we conducted a brief literature review. One of the things we discovered is that these CASE scores are overwhelmingly affecting applicants of color. So out of 146 students that were denied admission, 30 of these were applicants of color. The math subtest proved as the largest barrier, and writing is the 2nd largest barrier. Now, these data only reflect individuals who continued to apply, which means that number is potentially larger, because if anyone who was looking at becoming a teacher or starting a teacher preparation program took the CASE and didn't earn the scores, they might have just decided not to apply at that point and walked away. We also recognize that there's a corresponding financial burden. So applicants can take the CASE as many times as they need to pass, but each time they take it, they have to pay for the test itself, which we feel like is a barrier and potentially a burden to anyone who's coming from a low socioeconomic background. In terms of the state-by-state comparison, we found that there were several states that were requiring the CASE, but then also allowing for other assessments as well. So 12 allowed for other assessments, 7 used different cut scores than us, only 1 was higher, 6 were lower in either one portion or another. There were 11 states that required different exams altogether, and there were 16 states who required no exam at admission. Many of these states, just like ours, also require students to take the Praxis 2, which are the exams for licensure, which is not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the exams for admission. And then the literature review really told us that this CASE exam creates additional barriers for applicants of color and applicants from low socioeconomic backgrounds. The scores are not clearly predictive of classroom success at all when measured through a value-added model. In terms of scores and as they relate to success on the Praxis 2 licensure exams, when scores at the CASE are considerably above benchmark, they indicate success with Praxis 2, but the GPA is a stronger indicator of success there. So the CACTE task force and membership examined sort of the data we were able to pull together, and then we have 3 recommendations for you from that. The first recommendation is that we think the ACT or the Praxis should be able to be used to assess core academic competencies for admission. So because most students in Kentucky take the ACT at some point, that they generally have that test coming into their college admissions process, we could use those scores and the cut scores established for college readiness by CPE as part of that. Individual EPPs, education preparation programs, may still require the CASE on top of that if they would like. Now, students who don't meet the ACT benchmark would be encouraged to take the CASE. We also think that we could allow a GPA of 3.0 or higher to compensate for missed ACT or Praxis scores. So for individuals who miss those benchmark scores, say by 1 to 5 points, instead we could step back and look at what's their GPA overall. Is it higher than the 2.75 that Kentucky requires? Are they sitting at a higher GPA, and does that give us an understanding of academic competency? And then for our MAT applicants, because everyone coming into our MAT program already has a bachelor's degree, and therefore they have demonstrated academic competencies at the college readiness level in terms of having a bachelor's degree by the nature, we think demonstrates that. We're suggesting that the standardized test requirement be dropped for MAT applicants. And I'm happy to take any questions at this point. I will stop sharing my screen.
I have a question, Sarah Green. My question is, so you looked at the case study of states. How many states have the alternative? How many states did you say have the alternative? It's not just the case, like it's the ACT or the GPA.
So we found that 12 others allow for different assessments besides the case. And then there are 11 that use just a different exam. So there are some states that have a state-based only exam as well.
Oh, it's state-based. And how many states just use the case at this point?
So 7 use the case but allow 4 different cut scores than ours is what we found. 1 is higher and then 6 with one portion lower or another. And I can send you the full report if you would like. I have the, I'm not sure what was included in your agenda book, to be honest, but I could give you that appendix if you're interested.
No, thank you. That answers my questions. Thank you.
Amber Snell, and I just have a comment. As someone who came through the MAT program with 2 bachelor's degrees and an MBA before I came to teaching, I think that additional GRE, in my opinion, at that point was just an extra entrance barrier for some people. So I like and support that idea of removing it for MAT candidates.
Just a comment. This is Donna Hedgepath. It's interesting. I know Dr. Powers has been with EPPs in Kentucky for 20 years or more. So it's kind of going full circle, because I remember when we would use the Praxis 1 when they didn't meet the ACT score before, and I liked it. And I hated it when it went away. So I like seeing that. One thing just to consider, as I work a lot with admissions for higher ed in general, is the ACT is being questioned as an admissions requirement anyway, just for all universities. So, and also remember with COVID, many students did not even have the option to take the ACT in the spring, or maybe we're not sure about what will happen in the fall. So that is just something to consider. But overall, I think it's a good recommendation. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So this is Lisa Rudzinski. Is there any discussion about, I know that we talked about the GPA 3.0 or better, any evaluation of the coursework that the students took for that 3.0, or just 3.0 based on whatever their school, whatever courses they took in their school?
So the task force didn't speak specifically about breaking it down to look at individual courses. But given that the conversations evolved, I think, since we very first put this report together, I do think we could look at sort of a targeted GPA. So if we wanted to get at ideas of understanding competency in math or writing, for example, we could pull GPA for, what's the average of the English courses, for example, and looking at the level of the English courses, math courses, that kind of thing as well. So I think that that's something that we would need to talk about as a task force. We haven't spoken about it, but I think that's a great idea, and it would still give us a more holistic approach, and that's really what we're looking for. What's a holistic approach to evaluate applicants, as opposed to simply having sort of this test as this cut line, which we find really problematic and we think is a barrier towards equity and access.
Lisa Rudzinski again. So the goal of this is to widen the pool, rather than streamlining and narrowing it down at the very beginning, but open it up, and then through the studies, people move on, or they wash out at that point instead of being washed out right at the very beginning. Correct?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Thanks.
I think also making this a gatekeeping issue at the very beginning doesn't allow for sort of a growth model. It doesn't allow for the learning that could take place in the nature of being, say, an undergraduate college student. So.
Any other questions or discussion?
For me, one of the key pieces here, Julian Vasquez Heilig, is that the test doesn't, the research is showing us that the test doesn't tell us what we actually think it tells us. I think the growth is a good point here, which is that, it's not predictive of success necessarily. To me, that's the key piece, is it doesn't tell us what we thought it told us. And so, we have a couple of decades, in a couple of states that has this kind of data. And what it says is that, young people, when they get to UK or Eastern Kentucky, they have the opportunity to thrive. And that's why the test is not predictive of their success. And I think that's what's exciting about this kind of a change, is it gives us multiple ways for the students to demonstrate that they're ready to be in the classroom with the Commonwealth's children. And it allows them the opportunity to grow. It doesn't penalize them for what happened when they were 17 or 16. It gives them the opportunity to grow into being leaders in classrooms.
Thank you.
Lisa, I think Commissioner Glass also has his hand raised. I wasn't not sure if you were able to see it.
No. Commissioner Glass?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Amanda. I also support the recommendations. I do wonder if they could be even taken a step further, creating, it looks like you created sort of multiple pathways and routes that someone could enter. And I wonder if there could even be a further sort of matrix of, if GPA reaches a certain level, then you don't need the assessment at all. I think there's been some recent research that's come out around how, especially for students from who are minorities or from historically underserved backgrounds, that GPA may be actually a better predictor of their success than the standardized measure. So support that. And then from the department standpoint, maybe this is a question for Rob. What do we have in place in terms of fee waivers or supports for students who are, Elizabeth was talking about the barrier that students face if they take the test, they don't pass, they have to keep paying to take it. I wonder what sort of supports are in place where if economic hardship could be requested, that could be waived. So I don't know if Rob's still on, but I guess let me rephrase. What supports are in place to support students who want to retake exams or have other financial hardships that's limiting them from entering the profession?
Dr. Glass, currently that's just at the individual institutions. There's really no system for it, and that's an issue as well. There are some places where there are very intentional, almost RTI type structures in place to help students, and then there are others where it's kind of sink or swim, unfortunately. So it really runs the full gamut there in our state agencies. I will say for our CATE folks who are enrolling, we do provide praxis support for them. I know that in our teacher residency program, they have intensive praxis support as well. So I think there's some good models out there, but we don't have anything that's systematized.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Thank you, Ms. Bell, and thank you, Dr. Dinkins, for joining us today and for your willingness to serve on the Program Review Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to the action items. These items are presented to the board for action and will require a motion and a vote. Margaret Hawkinsmith will present the first item, letter A. Ms. Hawkinsmith?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm the EPSB staff member who manages the accreditation processes. This morning, you'll be voting on the accreditation and program approval for Bellarmine University and Campbellsville University. This is a 7-year cyclical event for all EPPs. You'll be considering the recommendations from the board-appointed Accreditation Audit Committee, which the acronym is the AAC. And I now want to introduce the newly appointed chair of the AAC, Dr. Faye Dieters from Eastern Kentucky University. She'll present the summaries.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you. The joint Cape State Accreditation site visit for Bellarmine University occurred on September the 15th through 17th, 2019. The national and state site visitors reviewed the accreditation of Bellarmine's initial and advanced programs related to the current 5 CAPE standards, as well as the carryover of one previous area for improvement, or AFI, from the in-CAPE review of their prior accreditation visit in 2012. After the off-site formative review and on-site visit, the site visitors recommended to the CAPE Accreditation Council one AFI in Standard 4, which is the standard related to program impact of completers. The CAPE Accreditation Council met in October 2019 and made the national accreditation decision and found all standards were met by the EPP and removed the AFI in Standard 4 recommended by the site visitors. The council also removed the prior in-CAPE AFI. The EPSB's Accreditation Audit Committee reviews and recommends both state accreditation of the EPP and program approval of every licensure program it offers per KAR 5010. The AAC met on June 16, 2020, and examined all of the materials from the off-site and on-site accreditation reviews for Bellarmine University, as well as their program review documents. The AAC agreed with the CAPE findings of all standards met and no AFIs or stipulations. The AAC's recommendation to the board are 1, accreditation, and 2, approval of the initial and advanced level educator preparation programs at Bellarmine University.
Thank you. Since this item is on the agenda for action, I will need a motion.
Donna Hedgepath, so move.
Thank you. Motion by Dr. Hedgepath. Second.
Amanda Ellis, second.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis, with the second. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB grant continuing CAEP/EPSB state accreditation to the EPP and approve the initial and advanced preparation programs at Bellarmine University? Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Cheshire, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Heilig.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
Voting is complete.
The motion passes. Next, we have action item B. Campbellsville University Accreditation of Educator, Preparation Provider, and Approval of Programs. Ms. Hawkinsmith.
I refer to Faye Dieters.
Thank you, Dr. Dieters.
Thank you. The Joint Cape State Accreditation site visit for Campbellsville University occurred on October the 27th through 29th, 2019. The national and state site visitors reviewed the accreditation of Campbellsville's initial and advanced programs related to the current 5 CAPE standards, as well as the carryover of one Area for Improvement, AFI, from the state accreditation review of their prior accreditation visit in 2012. After the off-site formative review and on-site visit, the site visitors recommended to the CAPE Accreditation Council 1 AFI in Standard 2, the standard related to clinical partnerships and practice, and 3 AFIs and 1 stipulation in Standard 5, the standard related to provider quality assurance and continuous improvement. The CAPE Accreditation Council met in October 2019 and made the national accreditation decision and found all standards were met by the EPP and removed the AFI in Standard 2 and 2 of the AFIs and 1 stipulation in Standard 5. The Council retained 1 AFI in Standard 5.5. The EPSB's Accreditation Audit Committee reviews and recommends both state accreditation of the EPP and program approval of every licensure program it offers per KAR 5010. The AAC met on June 16, 2020, and examined all of the materials from the off-site and on-site accreditation reviews for Campbellsville University, as well as the program review documents. The AAC agreed with the CAPE Accreditation Council findings of all standards met and to retain the 1 AFI in Standard 5.5. The AAC's recommendations to the board are 1, accreditation, and 2, approval of the initial and advanced level educator preparation programs at Campbellsville University.
Thank you. I will again need a motion.
Sherry Powers.
Dr. Powers with motion. Is there a second?
Mary Pat Reagan.
Ms. Reagan with the second. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB grant continuing CAEP/EPSB state accreditation to the EPP and approve the initial and advanced preparation programs at Campbellsville University? Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis, excuse me,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, recuse.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scribner, do you want me to come back?
Yes, come back. Looks like he stepped away.
Okay. Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez, High League,
Julian Vasquez High League, yes.
Stephen Scribner,
Stephen Scribner, yes.
voting is complete.
Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Dieters, for joining us today, and congratulations on your appointment as chair of the Accreditation Audit Committee. Next, we have action item C, presented by Sharon Salzman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The action item C is the Green River Regional Educational Cooperative, which we call GREC, Continuing Education Option Plan 2 proposal. So I know you've heard at the training and all about the CEO Plan 2, but it is from 16 KAR 8030, and it sets forth the continuing education requirements for CEO Plan 1 and Plan 2, and it's a rank change program. And the CEO Plan 2 allows for districts, group of districts such as educational cooperatives and Kentucky institutions of higher education that have EPSB approved educator preparation programs. And it allows them to submit a continuing education option plan, and it has to have a combination of field-based experiences, individual research, and approved professional development. And those have to go before the board for approval. The board also approved the CEO Plan 2 guidelines, and that provides information for those that are submitting a plan to design and submit. And it has to align with the regulation and the statute. So GREC submitted their proposal. It went before a scoring group, and the group consists of a person from the district, a person from a cooperative, and a person from an EPP. And those people don't have anything to do with the plan that is submitted. So we tried to work that out. So nobody that was associated with GREC reviews their proposal. So this group reviewed it. It didn't pass on the first go round. It went back to GREC for them to redo. They redid. Once they redid and resubmitted, it did meet all of the guidelines and aligned with the scoring rubric that they are sent. So this is before the board and for your approval or denial.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Amanda Ellis, I make a motion.
Dr. Ellis with the motion, a second.
Jacqueline Mayfield, I second.
Ms. Mayfield with the second. The motion before the board. Should the EPSB approve the CEO Plan 2 program proposal submitted by GREC? Any discussion? I just have a question. Is this going to be the first program that is approved like this in the state of Kentucky?
For the CEO Plan 2, yes, this is the first one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hearing none, Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scribner,
Stephen Scribner, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Heilig,
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
voting is complete.
The motion passes. Next, we have action item D, Kentucky Educational Development Cooperation continuing education option plan 2 proposal. Also, Ms. Salzman.
Yes. So this is the same as the last one with GREC. This one is just from KEDC, or the Kentucky Educational Development Corporation. So this is the same as the last one, so it's here for your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Josh
Mary
Trosper,
Pat Reagan.
Josh Trosper with the motion. Ms. Reagan, would you like to second?
Sure.
Okay. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB approve the CEO Plan 2 program proposed, submit, oh, I'm sorry, let me read that again. Should the EPSB approve the CEO Plan 2 program proposal submitted by KEDC? Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Cheshire, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
I'm sorry, my mouse keeps sticking. Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath, Donna Hedgepath,
Right, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez, High League.
Julian Vasquez, highly yes.
Voting is complete.
The motion passes. Action item E, University of Kentucky Continuing Education Option Plan 2 proposal. Also, Ms. Salzman.
Yes, so this is the same as before, except for this one is done through an EPP, the University of Kentucky, and it is their Continuing Education Option Plan 2.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. Amanda Ellis.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis with the motion. Is there a second?
Sherry Powers, second.
Dr. Powers with the second. The motion before the board, should the EPSB approve the CEO Plan 2 program proposal submitted by the University of Kentucky? Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez, High League.
As UK College of Education Dean, I believe I have a conflict and have to abstain.
Voting is complete.
The motion passes. Next, we have action item F presented by Casey Trueblood.
Hi, good morning. Action item F involves the certification of Regulation 16 KAR 3080. This regulation has a last effective date of December 6, 2013, and pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statutes, Chapter 13A, the regulation would expire on December 6th of this year unless a certification letter is filed with the regulation compiler's office. And a certification letter can either state that the regulation shall remain in effect as is or shall be amended. If the letter states that the regulation shall be amended, then the board has 18 months from the date of the certification letter to amend that regulation. 16 KAR 3080 establishes the certification requirements for career and technical education school principals. Staff has reviewed this regulation in its entirety to assess the alignment with the statutory and program requirements and has determined that the regulation should remain in effect with amendment in order to continue to set the standards for this certification. All amendments to the regulation would come before the board at a future date for review and approval. However, at this time, to make sure that the regulation does not expire, staff is requesting that the board approve the certification of 16 KAR 3080. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Sherry Powers, so moved.
Dr. Powers with the motion. Is there a second?
Sarah Green, second.
Ms. Green with the second. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB approve the certification of 16 KAR 3080? Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers.
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis.
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green.
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn.
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath.
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield.
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers.
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan.
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski.
Lisa Rosinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener.
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell.
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter.
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Holly.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
Voting is complete.
And the motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Trueblood. Next, we'll move on to waivers. KRS 161.0281R provides that the board has the authority to waive its administrative regulations when a request is submitted by an applicant for certification, a post-secondary institution, or a superintendent of a local school district. When requesting a waiver, the requesting party must submit to the board a written request along with the appropriate justification for the waiver. Today, Kathy Jackson and Crystal Horde will present the waiver requests to the full board. The board will then need to determine if the requester has demonstrated exceptional circumstances to justify the waiver. Starting with waiver A, presented by Kathy Jackson.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Jackson. I work part-time in the office, mostly with a cooperating teacher payment program. A cooperating teacher are those teachers who supervise student teachers placed by EPP. Our first waiver is from Morehead State University. They are asking that we waive the elementary placement for one of their music majors. Her name is Stacy Boyd, as they were unable to locate an elementary placement.
the regulations state that when they were receiving certification for K through 12, that it has to be evenly placed between those two. Usually music is an easy one to find for elementary, but due to COVID and the problems they're having, the district has asked that they not place any students in music in their school system. So Moorhead is asking to waive the elementary placement and to let her do her 70-day student teaching assignment in the high school and middle school settings.
Thank you. This item is on the agenda for action, and I will need a motion.
Make a motion, Amanda Ellis.
Dr. Ellis, thank you. Is there a second?
Amber Snell, second.
Ms. Snell with the second. The motion before the board, should the EPSB approve Moorhead State University's, that's correct. Should the EPSB approve Moorhead State University's alternative student teaching placement request for Stacy Boyd? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Brzezinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Holly.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
All members have voted.
Thank you. The motion passes. Next, we have waiver B, 16 KAR 5040, alternative student teaching placement request for Cassie or Casey Brewer. Ms. Jackson?
Yes, this placement, this waiver request is also from Moorhead State University with similar circumstances. She is an art major rather than the music major, but because the virtual environment and the unavailability by the district, they are asking the same thing. And Ms. Brewer will complete her 70-day student teaching assignment in high school and middle school setting if the waiver is approved.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Sherry Powers, so moved.
Dr. Powers with the motion. Thank you. Is there a second?
Sarah Green, second.
Ms. Green with the second. Thank you. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB approve Moorhead State University's alternative student teaching placement request for Cassie or Casey Brewer? Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, and I vote yes for this one and the previous one. My name was skipped.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, thanks. Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Brzezinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Holly.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
All members have voted.
The motion passes. Moving now to waiver C, 16 KAR 5040, alternative student teaching placement request for Dylan Glunt or Glunt. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, this waiver request is from Murray State University, and it is for a foreign language. There are few, if any, elementary placements in foreign language in our schools because it has to be a certified teacher, and that is not a requirement for elementary education. So Murray State has asked that their student teacher for Spanish, Dylan Glunt, be assigned to teaching high school only for his complete 70 days. He also has some issues with some medical issues, and so that their documentation provides extensive support of how much he has received prior to student teaching in elementary setting. So they are asking that he receive the waiver to just do his high school teaching in Spanish.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Yeah, did I get on that?
Donna Hedgepath, so moved.
Thank you, Dr. Hedgepath. Is there a second?
Amber Snell, second.
Ms. Snell with the second. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB approve Murray State University's alternative student teaching placement request for Dylan Glunt? Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Holly.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
All members have voted.
The motion passes. Next, we have waiver D, 16 KAR 5040, alternative student teaching placement request for Valentia Salas. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, this request is also from Murray State University, and they provided, again, extensive documentation of experience that she had prior to student teaching with the elementary setting. So they are asking that Ms. Salas be able to complete her 70-day student teaching assignment in the high school setting.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Sarah Green, so moved.
Ms. Green with the motion. Is there a second?
Sherry Powers, second.
Dr. Powers with the second. The motion before the board is, should the EPSB approve Murray State University's alternative student teaching placement request for Valentia Salas? Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez, Heilig.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
All members have voted.
The motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank
Next,
you.
Next, we have waiver E presented by Crystal Horde, 16 KAR 2120, request to waive emergency certificate requirements for Christian County Schools. Ms. Horde.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Waiver E is requested by Christian County Schools and is supported by the superintendent, the principal, and the assistant principal of Hopkinsville High School. They are requesting a waiver of 2120 to waive the 2.5 cumulative GPA requirement for issuance of an emergency certification. They have an individual who has a 2.30 cumulative. She has been working as a sub in the district for several years, has done, according to the district, an excellent job. And she is one of their preferred subs. She is interested in pursuing alternative certification and is planning on taking additional coursework to raise her GPA requirement to qualify for admission to Alt Cert. However, for this year, and due to the shortages and the inability to find a qualified teacher for the position, the district is requesting this waiver.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Sarah Green, so moved.
Ms. Green with the motion. Thank you. Is there a second?
Jacqueline Mayfield, second.
Ms. Mayfield with the second. The motion before the board is, should the Education Professional Standards Board approve the request that the grade point average requirements of 16 KAR 2120 be waived for issuance of an emergency certification? Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers.
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis.
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green.
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn.
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath.
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield.
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers.
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan.
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski.
Lisa Rudzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener.
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell.
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter.
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez Holly.
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
All members have voted.
The motion passes. Last, we have waiver F. 16 KAR 4060, request to waive renewal requirements due to medical conditions. Ms. Horde.
Thank you. 16 KAR 4060 requires 3 years of eligible teaching experience within the 5-year renewal cycle preceding expiration date on a certification, or 6 semester hours of graduate credit. Ms. Andre Molnar presented documentation showing that she had been under a doctor's care since 2018. She was able to complete 1 year of experience subbing for the 16-17 school year. However, after being under doctor's care with the documentation that was provided under separate cover for the board members, she was unable to meet the other 2 years. And this is June 30th was her renewal year. So now that she has been released from doctor's care, she's wanting to continue to work in the schools. So she is requesting a waiver of the 3-year requirement in order to go ahead and renew her certification.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Sarah Green, so moved.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Is there a second?
Amber Snell, second.
Thank you, Ms. Snell. The motion before the board. Should the EPSB approve the applicant's request to allow the experience that she has completed thus far to renew her certification? Any discussion?
Lisa, I have a question. Sherry.
Yes.
Crystal, can you tell us how we've handled these in the past?
Typically, the board has, when exceptional medical circumstances have been met, the board has approved them in the past. She has provided documentation, as well as there was a letter from her doctor explaining the severe nature of her condition and why she was unable to return to work and be able to complete the time. I believe she had also mentioned that, due to the inability to work, she wasn't able to finance taking graduate courses either, which is kind of typical when they're out of work during that time. So there is precedent where the board has approved these type of options, but obviously, or waivers in the past. However, each individual circumstance is unique. Sometimes they have 1 year of experience, sometimes they have 2. It just depends.
So we've approved those in the past without any conditions then?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Brzezinski,
Lisa Radzinski, yes.
Stephen Scribner,
Stephen Scribner, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez, Heilig,
Julian Vasquez Heilig, yes.
all members have voted.
The motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Hord. I will now open the floor to any board member for board comments. Does anyone have anything they wish to share?
Josh Trosper.
Mr. Trosper?
I just wanted to thank the staff and attorneys for the training on Thursday. Very informative. I think I can speak for everybody that was a great training.
Thank you. Any other members wish to share?
Lisa, this is Sherry Powers, and I just wanted to thank the CAFTI board for their proposal. I know it was a lot of work, a lot of time and effort's gone into that. Thank you to Dr. Elizabeth Dinkins, and I look forward to the board moving this to an action item.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I second that motion. Julian Vasquez.
Okay, I didn't understand that, Dr. Vasquez Heilig.
I just second Dean Powers' motion.
10-4, 10-4, thank you. Okay. At this time, Hearing no other board comments, I believe we are ready to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810 subsection 1C and J to conduct a character and fitness review and to review potential actions relating to complaints and reports. The board will also review pending litigation. At this time, I will need a motion to go into closed session.
Sherry Powers, so move.
Dr. Powers with the motion, thank you. Do I have a second?
Stephen Scrivener, second.
Mr. Scrivener with the second, thank you. The motion now before the board is a motion to go into closed session. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Chesser, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, present.
Amanda Ellis,
Amanda Ellis, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Mary Pat Reagan,
Mary Pat Reagan, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Amber Snell,
Amber Snell, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper,
Josh Trosper, yes.
Julian Vasquez, High League.
Julian Vasquez, highly yes.
Voting is complete.
The motion passes, and we are now ready to move into closed session. We are now back in open session. At this time, we will vote on those items discussed during closed session. We'll begin with character and fitness. Items 1 and 2, approve with conditions. 3 through 15, number 17, 18 through 21, approve. Number 16 and number 22, deny.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes on all.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes, all.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes to all.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes to all.
Okay, next.
Voting is complete.
Voting is complete. Next, CA4 online character and fitness, numbers 1 through 11, approve.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes on all.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes to all.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes to all.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes on all.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes to all.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scribner,
Stephen Scribner, yes to all.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes to all.
Next, we will vote on agreed orders. Items 1 through 8, the decision to accept.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes on all.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes to all.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes to all.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes on all.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes to all.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scribner,
Stephen Scribner, yes to all.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes to all except number 4, and I recuse from number 4.
Next, we will move to case decisions for findings of fact, conclusions of law, and recommended orders and appeal rights. Numbers 1 through 4, decision to accept findings of fact, accept conclusions of law, and accept recommended order. Number 5, decision to modify findings of fact, modify conclusions of law, and accept recommended order.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes on all.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes to all.
Kathy Gunn, Kathy Gunn,
I'm sorry, I'm having mouse issues again. Kathy Gunn, yes to all.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes on all.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes to all.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scribner,
Stephen Scribner, yes to all.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes to all.
Next, we will move to educator cases, and I will start with cases 1 through 52. Number 1, defer for training confidentiality. Number 2, admonish and training confidentiality. Number 3, defer for training confidentiality. Number 4, admonish and training confidentiality. Number 5, dismiss. Number 6, admonish and training grief counseling. Number 7 through 11, attorney review. Number 12, attorney review. Number 13, attorney review. Number 14, admonish and training fit for duty and professional conduct. Number 15, 16, and 17, attorney review. Number 18, admonish and train fit for duty and professionalism. 19, admonish and training ethics. Number 20, attorney review. 21, dismiss. 22, defer for training, cultural sensitivity. 23, defer for training, cultural sensitivity. 24, defer for training, classroom management. 25, attorney review. 26, dismiss. 27, defer for training, anger management and professionalism. 28, attorney review. 29, admonish. 30, admonish and training, student communication, boundaries with social media. 31 through 39, attorney review. 40, 43, 45, 47, 51, and 52, dismiss. 41, admonish for training, student supervision, and ethics. 42, defer for training, classroom management, and de-escalation. 44, admonish and training, Red Book and district policies. 49, defer for training, district procedures. 50, defer for training, professionalism.
Chair Livingston, did you mention cases
yes.
46 and 48?
Probably not. 46, attorney review, and 48, attorney review. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Conley Salyers?
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes to all.
Sarah Green?
Sarah Green, yes to all.
Kathy Gunn?
Kathy Gunn, yes to all.
Donna Hedgepath?
Donna Hedgepath, yes to all.
Jacqueline Mayfield?
Yes to all except for number 48, recusal.
Sherry Powers?
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski?
Lisa Rosinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scrivener?
Stephen Scrivener, yes to all.
Carmen Souter?
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper?
Josh Trosper, yes to all, except 22 and 23. I dissent on those two.
Okay, I'm going to move on to cases 53 through 132. 53, attorney review. 54, admonish. 55, 56, 58 through 60, 62, 67 through 70, 72 through 79, 81, 83 through 87, 90 through 92, 94 through 100, 102, 104, 109 through 119, 121, 122, 124 through 126, 129, 130, and 132, dismiss. 61, 63 through 66, 71, 80, 82, 88, and 89, 93, 101, 103, 105 through 108, 120, 123, 127, 128, and 131, defer for training, administrative code training. Number 57, admonish and train, professionalism.
Melissa Conley Salyers?
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes to all.
Sarah Green?
Sarah Green, yes to all.
Kathy Gunn?
Kathy Gunn, yes to all.
Donna Hedgepath?
Donna Hedgepath, yes on all.
Jacqueline Mayfield?
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes to all.
Sherry Powers?
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes to all.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes to all.
Moving on, cases 133 through 212. 133 through 137, 139 through 142, 144 through 147, 152, 153, 156, 178, and 196 through 212 dismiss. 138, 143, 138, 143, 148 through 151. Defer for training, administrative code training. 154, defer for training, special ed laws. 155, defer for training, classroom management. 157, defer for training, classroom management and professionalism. 158, admonish and train, de-escalation. 160, 163 through 166, 168, attorney review. 173 through 176, refer to hearing. 177, admonish and train, ethics. 179 through 193, defer for a period of 3 months. 194 and 195, no further action.
Chair, can we go through 157 through 171 again?
157 through 171, sure. 157, defer for training, classroom management and professionalism. 158, admonish and train, de-escalation. 159, defer for training, classroom management. 160, attorney review. 161, defer for training, classroom management. 162, admonish and train, proof of district training. 163, 164, 165, and 166, attorney review. 167, defer for training, de-escalation. 168, attorney review, and I have fit for duty written there. 169, defer for training, classroom management. 170, defer for training, Red Book. 171, defer for training, OEA. I think it's records training, OEA records training. And
OEA recommended training.
Recommended training. Thank you very much. Couldn't read
Thank
my own
you.
shorthand. Is that all of them?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for bearing with me.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, yes to all.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes to all.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, yes to all.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes on all.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes to all.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes on all.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rudzinski, yes to all.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes to all.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes to all.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes to all.
And that completes all of our case decisions from the closed session. I would like to remind the board that our next scheduled meeting will be December 14th, 2020, and we'll await further direction regarding whether that will be a virtual or in-person meeting. At this time, I will need a motion to adjourn.
I'm Stephen Scrivener. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Scrivener. Is there a second?
Sarah Green, second.
Ms. Green with the second. Thank you. The motion before the board is a motion to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Sharp, please call the roll.
Melissa Conley Salyers,
Melissa Conley Salyers, present.
Sarah Green,
Sarah Green, yes.
Kathy Gunn,
Kathy Gunn, absolutely.
Donna Hedgepath,
Donna Hedgepath, yes.
Jacqueline Mayfield,
Jacqueline Mayfield, yes.
Sherry Powers,
Sherry Powers, yes.
Lisa Rosinski,
Lisa Rodzinski, yes to adjourn.
Stephen Scrivener,
Stephen Scrivener, yes.
Carmen Souter,
Carmen Souter, yes.
Josh Trosper.
Josh Trosper, yes.
The motion passes. I would like to remind everyone to stand by after we adjourn so that they can disconnect the online recording, and we are now adjourned.